Good morning. I wanted to make this video for a few reasons, but our topic today is the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra. This is a transit that we're under for 18 months. Like all North Node, South Node transits, it takes about a year and a half for it to move through the signs. A sign, sorry. So this began in the end of July-ish. You know I'm not an exact dates kind of astrologer. I'm a let's get it in range and call it good astrologer. But anyway, this transit that we're under, I wanted to talk about because it affects the collective in terms of the direction that we're all pushing for. So I had this dream where this woman was offering a workshop, and it was all about reclaiming childhood self stuff. But it was interesting because in the dream she said, who were you before you were told who to be? And I know that quote goes around. It's not a new concept, but when I woke up I really connected it in with Aries Libra axis of so the North Node is the area where we are all being asked to grow into. The South Node is an area where we're being asked to let go of, mature this energy. It's all about release with the South Node. So, and the hard part about wherever the South Node is in your chart or in the sky is that it's also hard to let go of how easy it is to hang out in that energy. And so why this dream was so poignant to me is that Aries does feel like the energy of instinct, and there's not a ton of thought going behind it. It's mostly instinct. And so what I like about that and connecting with that part of ourselves is that it's so raw and real and unrefined at times for sure. But what's nice about that is that it comes from the heart, comes from the spirit, whatever. It just is. And while we're in this North Node and Aries transit, I find that we're being asked to let go of the South Node Libra stuff. So, who are you told to be? Who are you told to perform as? I think this one is especially, well, I can only speak from my own experience, but this one feels especially important for women and femmes, because there are all of these weird social expectations of fawning and being nice, which when you intersect that with white supremacy culture, it gets I don't know, real yucky and pretend and very confusing, because if you're living trying to appease other people and keep yourself safe and not ruffle any feathers, and there's all good reasons for doing this, I'm not shitting on that, I've done it too, but if you're living that way, it's very confusing to be able to connect with your authentic self and what that part of you would say, and the more we ignore that voice, the more we hang out in the lower vibration of Libra, because Libra has wonderful things to offer, of course. The more that we do that, the quieter that voice gets, the further away from ourselves we go, and then you have to peel back all the false self layers to get to who you even are, or what your instincts are. It's very confusing. So I really liked that dream message of who are you before you were told who to be. That just summed it up so well for me. And what we get by letting go of the Libra qualities that are more immature or are the traps, because each sign has some traps. For Libra, the traps are around codependency and requiring another person to validate your identity, your existence, your importance, where Aries is just fuck you, I don't need to prove shit. I'm here, that's enough validation, that's enough proof that I am supposed to be here. It's just you don't have to think so hard about it. And that's a simplified version of this. But I like the way that these two can help each other for that reason, because when we let go of some of that Libra codependency and twisting ourselves into pretzels for other people, what we get is knowing how to pick our battles, knowing when to be diplomatic and when to be like strategic, where to put our efforts. Because the flip side of this, with like the lower, more immature version of Aries, is that it's all brawn and no brain, and we are throwing ourselves at the wall and smashing through obstacles, but like, are we really supposed to die on every hill, So I think what's cool about any North Node, South Node transit is that we get to like examine the full spectrum of the two signs, because they're, polarities. They exist on the same line. They're not wildly different. They're both trying to accomplish things. They just approach it differently. So I thought that was a nice reflection for us of, okay, let's think back to younger versions of us who didn't feel like they had to jump through these social hoops and kind of didn't give a fuck and like dressed super wild. At least for me, there was no pattern matching ever. I just wanted to change outfits a million times a day and be whatever struck my fancy for the moment, or wear no clothes. That was also very much part of it for me. But thinking about your young self who like did not care, and maybe that's not the case for everyone, but there is a version of you out there in here that is wild and relentlessly themselves. And I think this next 18 months, we get to connect with that. And like, it sounds scary because if you're used to doing the Libra thing, and like, hello, Libra rising, I'm used to doing the Libra thing, then it's like, oh shit, I'm going to ruffle feathers, or people are going to think I'm weird, or people are going to think I'm pushy, or people are going to think, you cannot control what other people think. Like, it's a hopeless cause. You cannot. And something that a friend pointed out to me not that long ago, was the ways that people pleasing is manipulative. I think it was maybe it was just on Chrissy's story. But pointing out the ways that people pleasing is manipulative really helped me look at it through a different lens, because it's like, well, I don't really want to manipulate people into what to think about me. Like, I'll sleep fine at night regardless. It's cool, no worries. I can't control other people. And so I like this transit for us all, because I think we all do some pretzeling, and we could all stand to do a little bit more Aries, like, what does my instinct say? What is my body telling me? What would feel right in this situation? And like, stop worrying about the mental gymnastics of it, and just like apologize when you get it wrong. Being afraid of making mistakes and trying to do the Libra perfection, having your shit together, looking poised all the time, just like, for most of us, we don't really have to abide by that. We think we do, we're scared we have to, but like, we're not royalty. There's not an expectation that way. It's fine. So from an Aries South Node person, I'm telling you to trust your instincts and to be who you are / were before you were told who to be.